The knowledge that man is to be a temple of God, a habitation for the revealing of his glory, should be the greatest incentive to the care and development of physical powers. Now, fearfully and wonderfully has the Creator wrought in the human frame, and the beats make it our study, understand its needs, and act our part in preserving it from harm and defilement. Today, we are going to discuss a very important principle that will enhance our good health, the circulation of the blood. Welcome to JB Weekly Podcast. We discuss health for everyday life, pushing back the tide of disease in our world. For health is by choice, not by chance. In order to have good health, we must have good blood, for the blood is the current of life. It repairs waste and nourishes the body. When supplied with the proper food elements and when cleansed and vitalized by contact with pure air, it carries life and vigor to every part of the system. The more perfect the circulation, therefore, the better will this work be accomplished. At every pulsation of the heart, the blood should take its way quickly and easily to all parts of the body. Its circulation, its circulation should not be hindered by tight clothing or bands or by insufficient clothing of the extremities. In our quest for fashion, you realize that so many of us are wearing very tight clothing. The gentlemen and the men in our society are putting on very tight jeans. The ladies have not been left out either. Because of the fashion element, they are wearing very tight clothing and they're leaving the extremities insufficiently clothed, and as a result, blood does not reach to the extremities. Whatever hinders the circulation forces the blood back to the vital organs, producing congestion. Headache, cough, palpitation of the heart, or indigestion is often the result. When food is digested in the alimentary canal, it normally it normally is absorbed into the bloodstream, and it is in the bloodstream that food nutrients are carried to every tissue of the body, and therefore when this is not well circulated in the body, we have indigestive symptoms of the body. In order to have good blood, we must breathe well. Full, deep inspiration of pure air, which fill the lungs with oxygen, purify the blood. They impart to it a bright color and send it a life-giving current to every part of the body. A good respiration soothes the nerves, it stimulates the appetite and renders digestion more perfect, and it induces sound, refreshing sleep. It's during sleep that we find our bodies repaired, and so we become rejuvenated, ready to meet the chores of the day. The lungs should be allowed the greatest freedom possible. Their capacity is developed by free action. It diminishes it if they are cramped and compressed. Hence, the ill effects of the practice so common, especially in sedentary pursuits, of stooping at one's work, especially workers who work in offices. In this position, it is impossible to breathe deeply. Superficial breathing soon becomes a habit, and the lungs lose their power to expand. A similar effect is produced by tight lacing. Sufficient room is not given to the lower part of the chest. The abdominal muscles, which were designed to aid in breathing, do not have full play, and the lungs are thus restricted in their action. Thus, an insufficient supply of oxygen is received. The blood moves sluggishly. The waste poisonous matter which should be thrown off in exhalations from the lungs, is retained and the blood becomes impure. Not only the lungs, but the stomach, the liver, and the brain are affected too. The skin becomes sallow, digestion is hindered, the heart is depressed, the brain is clouded, the thoughts are confused, gloom settles upon the spirits. The whole system becomes depressed and inactive and peculiarly susceptible to disease. The lungs are constantly throwing off impurities and they need to be constantly supplied with fresh air. Impure air does not afford the necessary supply of oxygen, and the blood passes to the brain and other organs without being vitalized. It is oxygen in blood that vitalizes our system because oxygen is carried to the cells where metabolism is carried out and the energy is produced. Hence, the necessity of thorough ventilation. To live in close, ill ventilated rooms where the air is dead and vitiated weakens the entire system. It becomes peculiarly sensitive to the influence of cold, and a slight exposure induces disease. It is close confinement indoors that makes many women pale and feeble. They breathe the same air over and over until it becomes laden with poisonous matter thrown off through the lungs and pores, and impurities are thus conveyed back to the blood. Now, this brings us to a very important aspect of construction of buildings. Whether for public purposes or as dwellings, care should be taken to provide for good ventilation and plenty of sunlight. Churches and schoolrooms are often faulty rather in this respect. Neglect of proper ventilation is responsible for much of the drowsiness and dullness that destroy the effect of many a sermon and make the teacher's work toilsome and ineffective. So today we have discussed the effect of good blood circulation and what hinders this circulation. For whatever that hinders good circulation has a direct effect to our system by making our system to become susceptible to disease. Let's push back the tide of disease in our world by adhering and being disciplined in adhering the principles as has been given in nature and by God of nature. Thank you, and may God bless you.